Welcome back to Arise Primetime, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I'm Charles Aniegolu. Now, at one stage in the post-independence era, classical music appeared to be surging in popularity in Nigeria, but it never quite managed to make the transition from a hobby and small-scale performances to big business like Afrobeats or even reggae or high life. So why has classical music failed to take hold in this country, despite the efforts of some Nigerians who've achieved considerable fame as classical musicians internationally? We'll talk about that in a moment, but first, here's the Abuja-based classical violinist Charles Effiong Otok, who's been trying to get more people interested in classical music in performance. And that's just a little snippet there. I'm afraid we can't take much more because we are sort of pushed for time. But Charles Effiong Otok in performance there. And in addition to being a classical violinist, Mr. Otok is also the lead coordinator for the Fiddler's Symphony Orchestra here in Abuja. And as I mentioned, he's been trying to find the secret that will push classical music to success in this country. And he joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, sir.
And I see you came with your pet.
Yeah.
Your pet instrument there, the violin.
Yes, sir.
How did you get to play the violin? It's a lovely instrument, by the way.
Of course it is. Of course it is. It's been a long time passion of mine, but you know, sometimes they say one often meets destiny on the same path it takes to avoid it. And so, you know, while studying in school, I stumbled on an academy that was very, very, you know, resourceful at that moment. And then went in, had private classes, and then a bit of background, ABRSM, that's Associated Board of Schools of Royal Schools of Music. And so with master classes here and there from notable, you know, violinists around the world.
Well, I'm glad you play. I love the instruments, and I love classical music, by the way. But a lot of people in Nigeria either don't or don't really hearken to it. Why is that?
I think it actually talks about the uniqueness of the music itself, or left alone the instrument. You see, how do I call it? Like they say, it's the music of the elite. And so most times, I would say, could it be because of the environment? And that's why we try as much as possible to bring people to see the importance of actually learning or actually even playing classical music.
But is there a sense that people also associate classical music with sort of church or religious music, and therefore they relegate it to going to church and don't quite, you know, listen to it in their leisure time?
Yeah, you see, music actually, if you trace it down to the evolution of music, you see it was actually the medieval era where you have more religious chants, and so all was now incorporated into classical music as it, you know, the eras come modernizing down. From the medieval era, you come to the Renaissance era, and then the Baroque era, and then the classical era. Then you have the Romantic era, and then the 19th century modern day music. If you find all the hip hop, most of the hip hop sequences you have traces of classical music into it.
And you've got, you're the lead coordinator for the Fiddler's Symphony Orchestra in Abuja. I mean, what sort of reception are you getting for that?
For now, we've been getting, let's just say a handful, because like we say, there is more of not much the market, you know, for a lot of things. Like if you look at the, how do you call it, the commercial part of it. But in terms of you coming to probably relax to classical music, get to, you know, get yourself acquainted with the music itself or enjoying yourself, You know, we have tried to actually promote such in Abuja, doing the Opera Nigeria concerts, annual concert which we hold. And then I think it's been encouraging here and there. I think this should be our 8th concert we did like last year, December. And then we had support with the first 3 with the Silverbird Entertainment Center. They've been resourceful and very supportive. You know, that was actually when AMCOM didn't take over. But the rest of it has just been, you know, all by ourselves.
Right.
Yes.
And I mean, you've got quite a musical family, haven't you? I mean,
Yes.
your daughter was the one we saw in that
Yes.
in that shot. Actually, she's got a great voice. I
Yeah,
mean,
she sings,
and a classical voice.
yeah, she sings opera. She actually did, there's a video of her online, you know, so in her practice of Mozart, that's Wolfgang Mozart,
Right.
Amadeus' magic flute, the Queen of the Night, at which she was actually doing that. And then she actually performed that in the
Right.
Opera Nigeria.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got a clip of your daughter singing. Let's take a quick listen to it.
Help us to be wise. Not to love. Let this be our lose our way.
Yeah, well, that wasn't quite the clip I wanted. There was one where she was really doing the
Yeah, with the
classical
national
thing, the
anthem.
opera thing
That was
with
the
her
national
voice.
anthem.
I mean, that was a remarkable piece of music, but
Yes.
sadly they couldn't get that up. But I mean, how did she, I mean, she seems quite young. How
Yes.
did she get to develop that opera voice so well at such a young age?
She started at the age of 6, where I actually, you know, discovered she could sing that. And she was like, Dad, I could do this. And I was like, okay, give it a go. And she tried with, of all pieces, Mozart's Queen of the Night, magic flute aria. And I was like, whoa, girl, you got something. And so from then, we've been working tirelessly every morning, you know, before she goes to school. She even has piano classes to be able to, you know, get herself acquainted with classical music and know, you know, her way around it. And so she did this performance where she sang the national anthem at the Villa, and actually a special rendition for the First Lady herself. And it was I think it was a health event. And you can imagine.
Well, that's really amazing. But I mean, you know that there've been, I mean, the violin, which obviously you've got tucked under your arm there, is an absolutely amazing, brilliant instrument that is adaptable to so many things. I mean, you see it in pop music, you can have it in Afrobeat, you can have it in reggae, in everything. I mean, are you particularly focused on classical music, or are you adaptable to other kind of
Not
forms of
entirely,
music?
not
Right.
entirely, sir. I'm let me say a contemporary / classical musician, but with a very strong classical background, in such a way that if it is, you know, shows for my contemporary works, I actually have an album out, you know. And so if it shows for my contemporary work, I just take on my costume and wear it. If it's a classical concert, opera, I go with my black suit.
But you're particularly keen to push classical music in Nigeria.
Promoting classical music, that's what we do. To promote classical music, a platform where even younger children can express themselves. Basically in our concert, we have like 30 minutes for children to come up on the grand piano or bring up their violins or flutes and do anything that they can do without judgment, anybody being judgmental. And so they could have first-hand experience of the stage, you know, to actually express themselves.
I wonder if I might convince you to belt out something for us on your violin. I mean, what's the point of carrying it under your arm if you're not going to play anything?
Whoa.
And that way you can sort of play us out of the show.
Okay, let me see if I could do something from Isaac Perlman's Paul Winner Cabeza.
Okay. Very good. Give us another one.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is the chance for the Nigerians to see what you actually do.
Oh, Nigerians.
What did you think, aliens? Charles, thank you very much indeed, and thank you for coming in.
Thank
Charles
you, sir.
F. Young Otok is clearly a classical violinist. He's also the lead coordinator for the Fiddlers Symphony Orchestra here in Abuja. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, sir.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again next week. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye, and thank you for watching.